like a glove. What? No. Hello. This is the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
Hello and happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I remembered. I'm getting there. It'll only take like a year or two, but I get there eventually.
Yes, that's
I guess we're so close to the election. Every day, I don't know about you, Mac. Every day I have highs and lows all
yeah,
day, every day.
yeah. No, I get
Yes, yes.
that. All of the lows are Gaza related to me.
100%.
Excuse me. A couple of weeks ago, I was sick. I think it was just allergies. I live between 19 fields, and it's harvest season, so I'm still getting my
Oh,
voice back.
yeah.
Talk, the itchier it gets, so I'm probably going to cough a lot. I apologize, everyone. Um,
You're fine. You're just
uh,
a human.
just a human. Oh, by the way, if everyone wants to see Christy's get up, she is sporting a vintage Dan Marino
I am. I
Dolphins.
am.
It's
That's
fantastic. We were just talking about that and Ace Ventura. Blue
great.
42, Blue 42. I love it. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I've been watching it since I was too young
Same.
to.
It is. It is one of those that if you haven't seen it, like what the F have you been doing with your life, first of all? And
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, Jim Carrey, uh, he would have to do something. I really hope Jim Carrey, don't fuck up. Like just don't come out anytime while I'm alive with being a total horrible person because I think you're dope. So don't screw that up.
I feel like he's shown pretty like through and through. He's a pretty genuine and good person.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm glad that one aged well.
Yeah, there have been some comedies that if I watch, even with just within the last 10 years, something from 20 years, 30 years ago, where I'm like, like, ooh, this did not age well. Ace Ventura isn't one of those. So there's that. I'm glad I
Yeah.
could remind you of your favorite movie.
Oh yeah.
It's football season and I'm in Florida. My wife is a massive football fan. I mean, how we watch and read and watch news, politics, and philosophy. That's Stacy in football. I mean,
Yeah.
she watches YouTube channels where people talk about football. She loves it. And the Miami Dolphins are her favorite. This is actually my jersey. She has her own, which I had before I met her. We've been together for 17 years. So it's a very, very, and I had it for, probably 10 or more years before that. So it is, well, I'm dating myself. This is a very
I-
old, we'll call it vintage.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm vintage. I'm a classic. Like I would say like a car, but my name's Christine, and that's to Stephen King. I'm not Christine the that's so scary.
I was
Oh,
thinking,
that's a great book. If anyone hasn't read Christine by Stephen King, it is weird that a car could be a scary thing, but it's written well. I haven't read it in the last like 15 years, so hopefully that aged well. I'm advocating for them.
everyone goes and reads it now, and they're like, "The fuck did she tell me to read?"
Before we start, I did tell you guys I in April decided to do summer of reading and started reading, and I just finished my 58th book since April 17th. Right. Smitty and I are about to do another series together. We did the Game of Thrones series together. It was so much fun. We talked during the book. It was a blast. But we're about to do The Dark Tower by Stephen King, that series together. So it's my
I
mom's
don't,
favorite.
I don't think I've reached my 58th book this ever.
This ever in the history of ever.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
not,
reading. I
I probably
do.
listened to upwards of 1,000 interviews.
That,
Uh,
hey, listen, conversations are important. You learn a lot.
yeah, there's a handful of books that I wanted to listen to, but I couldn't find them, so I just listened to the author talk about the subject topic.
Tell me what they are. I'm really good at finding books that should not be free.
Hmm.
Promise you.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk.
Like, I'm not an
Uh,
investigative journalist at all. I'm not calling myself that, except for when it comes to finding audiobooks. I
Fair
will
enough.
find, yes.
Uh, a handful of them that I have listened to. The Blank Slate. I think it has a lot of great stuff in there. Steven Pinker. Um, I think he did a fairly good job at that book, but there's a lot of stuff I disagree with in it,
Same.
obviously. But
Yeah, it's an important read of our
yeah,
time, for sure.
I really like if you look at that book as a history of manners, that's pretty fucking dope. It's my favorite thing to take away from it. Um,
I didn't even think of that. You're right.
yeah, and like I think there's nothing to disagree with there if you just look at the whole book like that. The God Delusion, I've listened to that. Um, I haven't listened to I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist, but I've listened to enough Frank Turk to know the book back like forwards and backwards. Uh,
Oh,
excuse me, we got God and Anatomy by Francesca Stavrakakopoulos.
yeah,
Uh,
that's one that's on my list.
oh, so good. And let's see what else I have up here. Oh, The Moral Landscape by Sam Harris. The God is Not Great. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I've read that twice.
probably nice, yeah.
Yeah.
And Astrophysics in a Hurry. Oh, I don't think I've finished that one, but I've listened to a ton.
That book I have audio I can send to you for free because
Yeah.
it is so good. And Neil deGrasse Tyson reads it.
Oh, yeah. See that's what I like most is when the authors read it. It really
Yes,
tells it.
same. Although I do have to say, I've read and listened to a lot of Stephen King, and Stephen King has done the audio on books. I prefer
Mhm.
professional readers. He just, I enjoy listening to them, but then I'll have another version of that story, and it's someone who does different voices for different and it's just a different quality. And like, sorry, Stephen, you're right. That's why you need someone to act out the part. So yeah, sorry, Stephen, I still love you. I still love you. Yes.
Um,
So actually, anybody who's listening and get a hold of me if you're into listening to books or you want to talk about books, because I'm down.
Jeez. Um, cool.
Like just the scarier, the more out there. I'm just loving it. Yeah.
Um, since I don't books much, um, I feel like I need to say I'm not a big fan of scary movies because
Neither is Stacy. She's terrified. But you know what I got her to watch yesterday? Okay. Quiet Place came out, I don't 7, 8 years ago.
I
And
watched that
then
one.
A Quiet Place 2 came out a few years ago. And then just this past year or the year before, A Quiet Place Day One, which is how it all started. Well, the first one is so well written. It's PG-13. You can handle it. But it's
I've,
great. Emily Blunt is the main character. I mean, she played Mary Poppins. She can do anything. And she has to give birth in a bathtub with this thing that's attacking everyone who has no vision, but it has the most amazing hearing. So she has to give birth silently alone. The acting is superb. And I mean, you don't have to be a woman to know. I don't even know how you do that. But I'm a woman and I don't know how. I mean, if you want to survive, I guess, and then you hope that baby doesn't cry. Like, oh my God, they have to keep the baby in a box with the oxygen thing because babies cry. It is so well written. It's almost suspense. Like, and the jump scares are very old school. They do show the whole monster thing, but not like it'll be this much of it. And then the next one was just like just enough that you're like, what the fuck is that? And so
Yeah.
she did watch that with me when it came out, and she agreed it was done very well, but we had to watch it during the day when the sun was up. So yesterday I said, listen, it's almost Halloween. She's like, fine, because I love scary movies. So we watched two. And so I'm going to talk her into within the next couple of days watching day one. So I'll let you know. Yeah.
So for clarity, I don't watch them because I think they're too scary. I don't watch them because most of the time I think they're boring. I love scary stuff.
You'll love
Most,
this one then.
yeah, no,
It's
no, I have watched them. I
okay.
watched
Yeah.
one. I thought it was really good. I just didn't bother going to see the next one. I do though love Wes Craven films. I love the Freddy Krueger movie.
The cheesy one.
I love Scream, not because they're just hilarious, but
Yeah.
because they're hilarious, that's what's terrifying. Like that's a sociopath psychomaniac that plays with its food before he eats it. But like if someone calls me and says I'm gonna gut you with a fish and then knocks on the window and then I can't find them, I am terrified.
Same.
Like scary as shit.
Same.
If
Yeah, it
my
is pretty scary.
sneaks up behind me and stabs me while I'm having sex, I'm not scared, I'm just dead.
Yeah. And you died doing your favorite thing.
I died doing my favorite thing. Uh, which is the best.
The best. Yeah,
Was
those kind of scary movies crack me up too. I've never been really scared because, like, that would never happen. It just wouldn't. No, not that A Quiet Place could happen, but a scenario like we don't really know where they came from. Did a cave open up and they've been down there evolving? We don't know. So I'm not really scared like that. But the thriller, the not knowing, it's written so well, old school style, where it's not just monster in your face. It's not like that. It's the survival, having to be silent with children. You
terrifying.
know, one of those bear traps closes on a 8-year-old boy's leg. How do you get him to not scream? You can't. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah, it's really, really, really good. So now that that's out of the way, that's what I've been doing.
So main point of all of that is vote for Kamala Harris. She likes the South. No, look, if you vote for Trump, the place is going to get loud.
Yeah, no, answers will come. It will be the quiet place day, all the days.
Yeah, I'm so glad we. Excuse me. All
Taking
right,
this serious.
welcome. We'll go on topic now from here on out.
Yeah.
Probably we'll see. Um, and if you guys are on and watching us, share the link. We only have a couple people watching right now. We did hit over 850 having Aaron on 2 weeks ago. That was fantastic. I don't think Aaron's going to make it tonight. He's been busy, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him in the last week or so.
That's
So
okay.
all good.
I'm sure he is busting his ass talking to people to get them to vote.
Yeah,
Yes.
he made a really nice political video right after he talked to us. I'm just like, oh,
Yes,
I
he
feel
did.
that was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
actually, he's been real busy. He's put out, I'd say, in the last 6 weeks, just one after another, after another, after another, and they're all good. So I'm not just an on Ross stan. They are really good, and I'm a stan. So there's both things can be true.
yeah, they can. Uh, excuse me. All right, so uh, to start this out, I just watched something from Bernie Sanders. Have you seen the thing from Bernie Sanders like 2 days
Yes,
ago?
yes.
I have a difference of opinion and Gaza than Biden and Kamala Harris. How can I vote for them? Look,
Right.
it did speak to me. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm very clear. that I am on that boat. If it was still Joe Biden, I would have a hard time voting for Joe Biden. Even
Yeah,
still,
it would
election.
be very hard.
Yes. So let me say this. For all the lefties and for all of the anti-genocide voters out there, um, I need to remind you that Trump would be worse. Obviously, you can't vote for Trump if you're anti-genocide. He wants to give Israel everything they want, everything they need to finish the job.
Yeah, it's
That
terrifying.
that is a position as you can have. So
Agree.
you cannot make an argument voting for Trump if you are anti-genocide. You just can't. It becomes foul play.
Mm,
Uh, so there's that. I wouldn't blame you. Me specifically, I wouldn't blame you, swing state or not, if you voted for the Green Party, because I still think that they need to get to 5% to get funding.
agree. I agree. We need more political parties.
We do. And I mean, I hope they don't get 10 or 15%
Yeah,
because that,
same.
okay. And we don't have a really great way of coalescing how much we're going to vote for them.
Just
I don't,
keeping it on it.
yeah.
Same.
Um, they're not going to win. Please don't be so silly to say that. Even Jill Stein and her running mate were silly enough to say, "You don't know that." Sorry.
She kind of has to say that because if she came out and said there's no way, there are a lot of people who wouldn't understand the honesty of that not changing anything. It's just being honest. They would take it as, well, then why even go? You should always participate in democracy.
Good.
Always. You should always vote, particularly.
It's so important to keep the Green Party legitimate,
Yeah,
viable,
keep it viable.
one
Yes.
way or another.
Yeah.
Um, it's incredibly important. Um, so I wouldn't blame you. But if you can stomach um voting for Kamala Harris, she has a fantastic running mate, and she has some decent positions herself. She picked
To caveat, her running mate in his home state has had a lot of issues with the not even pro, just with the Let Palestinians Survive group. That before he was picked, before he was chosen, they had been begging to talk to him, waiting outside his office, and this has been going on since before October 7th. So yes, go in with your eyes open. I do understand. He is not going to be we will be able to work with him. That is more than we can say about anyone in the MAGA position. They are not going to hear it. I mean, Adelson, we already know who Adelson is, and she has given millions, hundreds of millions to Trump so that they can annex the West Bank, which they would want to do in the West Bank what they're doing in Gaza, and that is just unacceptable. There are elected officials across this country who are mayors, who are elected in town councils, who actually thought there was a land bridge connecting Gaza to the West Bank so that they were like people don't understand what it is, how long it's been going on, how brutal it's been. To say that there was a ceasefire on October 6th is a lie. It's a lie. Hundreds of people were killed. Hundreds of Palestinians and children were killed in the West Bank in 2023. In 2022, they were some of the deadliest years on record. 2014, we had the Gaza Fights for Freedom. In 2018 and 2019, they did the freedom walks where they just wanted to protest, to do it correctly without violence. And they were picked off. Children were shot. Kneecaps, they wanted to count kneecaps. They were doing kneecap contests, who could take out the most kneecaps of protesters, knowing that the medical standards are not up to a developed country, and they would have to have amputations. And there wasn't a ceasefire on October 6th. It wasn't. I
No.
do want to say, I forget who said it, but Trump is a poor person's idea of a rich man, a weak person's idea of a strong man, and a stupid person's idea of a smart man. Like,
Fair
yes,
enough.
it's hyperbole, of course, but goddamn, if it doesn't. I mean, Dunning-Kruger is alive and well. It's the loudest voices who swear they know. They just know because they know it, they feel it, and they can be demonstrated at the moment to be not true. So there's a lot of work to be done. I do feel that there's a lot of fear in this country, a lot of fear. And I'm not just talking about, girls losing their rights or scared of this or scared. I'm talking about the repercussions that will happen if he is elected. I don't know how you feel about the Washington Post not wanting to endorse,
I
but
feel like
Bezos saying absolutely not, because he has government contracts. He has all these things that will be in jeopardy if he goes against Daddy Trump. That's terrifying. And he's a fucking coward.
oh yeah.
That, I wanted to
But
add that.
Jeff Bezos, we kind of already know that.
Yeah.
So nothing new under the sun there.
Unfortunately.
Um,
Unfortunately.
so I want to also make couple other points because I mean I am more or less endorsing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz at this point, right? And if you guys know me, you should know that that's not like me. I don't like to support
No. No,
Democrats
no, no.
unless they give a good reason.
Right?
Tim Walz gave good reasons.
Yeah, he
Kamala,
did.
Tim Walz.
Oh, her
Um,
speech last night.
huh?
Her speech last night.
I didn't hear it yet. I'm behind
Oh,
like 3 days
yes, 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 yes.
on just about everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
pretty much going over again that we don't demonize people who disagree with us. That she will be a president for everyone, even if you don't agree with her, even if you didn't vote for her. She'll take in consideration your thoughts, feelings, and hopes. Like it was how, I mean, she could have just been saying it. However, she's the only one that's saying it. Now, other candidates are saying it, but they don't have a chance of winning.
they're not viable.
So, and I do want to add, I saw this and I loved it. It was actually in a book. Our fathers fought for, our fathers fought fascism. They didn't vote for it.
Yeah.
Like,
And but
yeah.
you can't say that to anyone on the MAGA side because
But if you
people
look up the definition, it's check, 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 check.
oh, I'm not gonna do that. Take a look at
Yeah, I mean, they don't have, it's not like, oop, everyone has access to a dictionary. I'm just a nerd that has my big, it's a dictionary and thesaurus. It's very helpful if you like writing, if you like reading, because I'm a nerd. But I think, oh, there's my eyeballs, because my eyeballs on my dictionary. Go figure that. I think that it's important to, in order to have a discussion with somebody about something, you do have to agree on the definitions before you go into it. And I feel that if the definition fits, that's kind of the end of that discussion. For me, for anyone who's like, oh damn, or you guys watch LEAH? She is a lawyer, an attorney. She always wears the t-shirts that say Reagan ruined everything. She does amazing videos. Oh, you will love her, Mac.
I'm
She
sure.
yeah, she's an attorney, but started a YouTube channel, and she also came out and endorsed Kamala. And she said, okay, well, we're just gonna have to talk about it. Actually came out today, I think, today or yesterday. I'll send it to you afterwards, and I will put it in the comments of this video for anyone who wants to watch it. She goes through the actual definition, and she says, I don't want to just call somebody that. I don't want to use that term unless I can actually say, here's the thing that was said that is, and here's the actions that were done that are. And not just
Yeah.
once or twice, but over and over and over. Here's a pattern of it. Here's why it is. And so she broke down like a video essay of, she went into a real quick history and then up to date. It was excellent. It's like 22 minutes long too. She's something else.
That's awesome.
Look, yes.
I would like that.
Yeah, you will like it. Let's see. I know how to spell.
Rachel and I were just talking yesterday about how Reagan ruined everything with this trickle down economics.
Yeah, that's her channel's like motto. And
Reagan
she's
ruined.
done long essays on how and why, and she demonstrates it to be true. It's excellent.
It's,
You can refute what she says, but not with facts. Your
yeah,
feelings can say, but I didn't like that. But like it's yeah, she's really good. This Oxford says fascism, the totalitarian principles and organization of the extreme right-wing nationalist movement, i.e. in Italy from 1922 to 43. Also fascism, any similar nationalist and authoritarian movement, any system of extreme right-wing authoritarian views, fascist, fascistic. It goes into, tyranny, authoritarianism, um, top down, getting rid of any opposition. Her, actually, I will put it in the chat right now. It is, her last name is, dang it. I am a big fan of hers, actually. I think she's awesome. Leah Miller, Leeja. And today, or her video was 2 days ago. It's called Yes, Trump is a Fascist. And she knew that would get a lot of people to be like, what the fuck? But that was the whole point. So we will share that with my loverlies.
I've seen her.
Yes, I knew you had.
Yeah.
And then once you click on that, you can go to all her content and go to her Reagan content. It's really good. It's in depth. She took the time. Not only is she a lawyer, she was able to make sure that anything she said is not, an opinion, that it's backed up, and she's very source rich, which I appreciate.
He
This
was
was
one.
the very first gift that Stacy got me when we were dating. She said, if you could
No.
have anything, if you could have anything for your birthday. And I had wanted this for like 7, 8 months prior to, but it's, now it would be like $50. It was 30 then, 17 years ago. It was a lot. So I was like, actually, there's this new dictionary and thesaurus together, and it was there on my birthday. So I knew she was the keeper. It's really heavy.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Um, yeah, looking at Leisha, I just wanted to say I definitely recognize her, and I think she was one of the first people to like really fine tooth comb the Project 2025,
oh yeah, she's excellent on that as well.
if I remember right.
She's broken
So,
down Jill Stein, a really good in-depth Jill Stein video that actually there was new information, so I had to change my mind. That's how that happens. And then I was able to say, okay, you make a good point. Let me go check out your sources. Ah, yeah, they're irrefutable. Okay, you have a point. I changed my mind on this.
Yeah.
So I appreciate her content, and her line of merch is Reagan ruined everything. So I gotta appreciate that too.
Awesome.
Yay.
Cool. So there's all that. Um, I think that maybe you and I should go through relatively quickly and give our predictions.
Okay,
Are you ready for that?
I
Want me to,
am.
want to go
I know
first?
that as of right before we went live, it's Kamala Harris 51% with a +4, and Donald Trump 47.
According to
Interactive polls, YouGov.
YouGov. Okay. There was some
Yes.
early in too, right?
This, I don't have that one, the early stuff pulled up. I wanted to go with, uh, let's see. It does have, crosstabs, which under Democrats, 96% will be voting for her. And then in the GOP, 95% will be voting for Trump.
Hmm.
Independents right now, 48% will be voting for Harris, and 45% will be voting for Trump.
Hmm.
Uh, Biden 2020 voters, 95% percent will be voting for Harris. Let's see. People who did not vote in 2020 at all will be voting 51% Harris. So men, 49 to 48%. It's right in the middle of those, so 48 to 49. And women is 53. So ages 18 to 39 is Harris by 59. And ages 40 to 59 is Harris at 49. Ages 60 plus, Trump 52%. White voters, Trump 51. Black, Harris 77. Hispanic, Harris 58%. And all others, Harris 59%. So she's looking good. It's kind of hers to lose right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Um, I threw up on X, which is what everyone should do. If you're on X, you should
Yeah.
probably um excuse me. That um I think she's gonna win fairly comfortably. I am only moderately worried.
Yeah.
So
Well, did you watch the CNN report 3 or 4 nights ago when they said Trump could win the popular vote? But
oh
they were
sure.
using all of that. It's all like the betting votes where people bet. It's Elon says it's the most reliable because people put money behind it. But then they did the whole investigative journalism and followed the money. And three of the biggest donations, which made it flip to looking like Trump could win, all came from the same person in another country.
Oh.
Right. And when asked, contacted, he said that he was going by the expats that were around him, and he has a lot of money to spend. Ooh, rock candy. He has a lot of money to spend and needed to put it somewhere and wanted to play some bets. Like, it means nothing to them. It was just, yeah. So when I watched it, because I saw it come across, and I'm not a big CNN fan, but I thought, this is pretty, I mean, they're claiming something pretty extraordinary right now, because there's no way. Republican hasn't won the popular vote since right after 9/11. Like, let's get it together. Reagan, it's not something that can be done. So, yeah, I think they put their foot in their mouth. Of course, it's written that, here's the updated and what we know, and we followed the money. But how many people who watched that actually followed through? Because I was like, there's no way this is true. I have to find out more. How many people did that? So people are walking around feeling like he's going to win the popular vote, which feeds into the there's no way I didn't win. It must be a fraud.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
that's we know that's coming. Burger King, we don't let
Senile fascists who love Hitler pretend to work here.
that's awesome.
I mean, Whoppers do sound way better right now. Just saying. Were you showing me candy? Because, like,
Oh, yeah,
what?
great motherfuckers. We got our favorite candies on the screen.
And then speaking of candy, Robert Reich was a really good labor secretary under Obama. He's an amazing academic on economics in our country. And
Labor
he just
Secretary Clinton, wasn't he?
he's what?
He was Labor Secretary under Clinton, wasn't he?
Yeah,
And Obama?
and teaches, and yeah,
Okay.
he's this tiny, tiny little guy out there doing big, big, big things. Okay, so he just put out some information for you guys on candy, on how it's monopoly. He laid out all this amazing candy. It's Halloween time, all this amazing candy, and he says lots of options to choose from, right? No, these are all made by two companies, Mars and Hershey, and then breaks it down. It's so good, and then like who doesn't love candy? But also that's kind of fucked up. That guy that you sent me who does the grocery store stuff, he goes to the grocery store. Yeah, brilliant work to look at an aisle of whatever it might be and just be
Cancel,
like, all of this is one company. What is this? What was it?
cancel this clothing company.
Yes,
Was
yes,
this,
yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a name that you're like, what? Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. It's the more you know, you
yeah.
know?
He
Why are the
follows
pumpkin
the
shaped
chart.
ones the best?
Say
Why?
what?
Why are the pumpkin shaped Reese's the best? Why?
Ooh, you
Why
know what?
better than the cups?
They're good. But have you tried the caramel cups?
Oh my god, they're so good.
It is like too fucking good. Rachel's
No,
in.
no, I have an orgasm.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I needed a moment.
yeah. They have no business being that fucking good.
No, I'm like, if
They
one of them
deserve
is hanging off a
all
cliff
the
and maybe my wife is hanging off the cliff, I'll be like, hold on, let me eat this real quick. I'll come back for you. I need the strength of this. No, can't let that fall over. It can't help itself. No,
It's
I'm just.
the best received are the tiny ones. I agree.
Mm, mm.
But I mean, next to the caramel ones, because the caramel ones are entirely too good.
Yeah, that's just another level.
Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, you need the like the crunchy chocolate bit. I get you. I agree. I've always agreed.
mm.
So, um, again, sorry for all the coughing tonight. So
Dear.
I think I want win. Maybe up by 5 points, and that's my guess for now. A little bit of that feels, but from what I've seen uh in the polls, which are kind of back and forth, and a little bit of early voting data. Excuse me again about myself. Um, the other thing that I see is that before I feel like there was that silent majority kind of deal,
Mm.
like a whole bunch of like hidden MAGA voters, and now the MAGA voters are the loudest, and nearly every Harris voter that I know wants to be quiet about it. They don't they don't want to stir up shit. They're afraid of their neighbors already. They're just
What
gonna go,
fascism does. That's the point right there. That you're
and
already scared. No, we need to slap it across its face as hard as we can,
Will
politically.
by voting. And I think that's what's going to happen is that we have this silent majority
Yeah.
on the police side now.
Yes.
To
Yes.
vote
Yes.
for
Yes.
Kamala Harris, not in a landslide, but far enough ahead to colloquially say,
Right.
kind of a landslide.
Right.
That's my guess. That's
Well,
been
it's
my
going to
guess.
be hard, I think, and contemporary times to get a landslide. It would have to be something where someone actually had policies that would significantly change people's lives for the better, and it could be tangible. Then people would come out. If they came out with an economically populist, I see you, Mac, an economically populist agenda with policies that put, opportunities and more of people's own money back in their hands, making things more affordable with programs to help people with education and housing and vehicles and transportation. I think that there could be a landslide, but we don't have anything like that. So the closest we're going to get is what you just said, something that's just enough where it's, undisputable. It is what it is. She won this.
Yeah, and it's going to be disputed.
Oh, 100%,
Right.
100%.
It doesn't
There
matter
are
if
people setting ballot boxes on fire in Seattle and Oregon, and completely blue areas. It's not going to change the election. You saw Virginia, the fucking Supreme Court said that they're allowed to just wipe all of these ballots off. Now, of course, we have laws. We've had laws for decades that say 90 days prior to an election, you can do no voter purges. As a state, this is something you should always be doing because people die, people move. It is what you have to do to keep them clean and to keep them current. However, the law is if it's 89 or 90 days or lower prior to an election, it's illegal. And so Virginia did this and it went up federal courts and they smacked it down and said, no, you can't do that. Here's the law. We're not stating anything against you. It's the law for everyone. And then the Supreme Court on their shadow docket, something they say they don't have, LEAH also covers the shadow docket and she's very, very literate as a lawyer and is actually a really good communicator in layman's terms about these things. And the shadow docket is not just proven by her, she's just another voice showing you how it is true that something takes years to get to and be covered and be seen and discussed and gone over by our Supreme Court. However, it took days. They picked it up and smacked it down and said, no, they can throw all those out. However, I do need to say that I've been, my blood was boiling. And then I went to the experts on this, and I am now satiated. I understand that it will not change the election. There will be a lot of people who show up to vote on election day and find out that they can't. However, there are provisional ballots that at that time, then they can go, oh, okay, well, that's not true. By law, you are allowed to then say, I want a provisional ballot then, because I am allowed to vote. And then you do your provisional ballot, it gets sent in. And then after everything's counted, they also count the provisionals as they are making sure that you can vote. So there is a way around it. So, I mean, I was reassured because man, oh man, like you dirty, dirty. Mm, yeah, yeah.
speaking of dirty, dirty, and the those pictures of the ballot boxes on fire,
Yeah,
that's pretty insane. To see that
yes,
already,
it is.
that gave me a little less hope that this is going to be less violent than last time.
Right. Well, I mean, they were 15 miles apart. How about I didn't know that our elections are so turbulent that our ballot boxes are built with anti-flame technology. I didn't even know that had to be. I'm glad,
Yeah,
but wow, really, really.
because we
And
suck
I
that.
mean, I don't know this. This is my opinion. It is not going to be someone on the left that did it.
Excuse me. No, I can
Prove me
guarantee it.
wrong. I'll wait.
Yeah, because I mean, I hope someone on the right tonight is listening. We don't have a lot of righties that listens, but every now and then
Yeah,
we get a few.
sometimes.
Um,
Yeah, I would like
we're
to have more
we're
people.
the non-violent ones, right? And when it comes to even property damage, it is more often the right wingers who
Yes.
do.
Oh, they'll argue with you and say George Floyd, they set it down, and I'm like, okay, let's take the last 100 years and let's
Right?
add them all.
Let's go tit for tat. And
Yeah, and you're
we're
gonna pull out the time it was the worst on this side and ignore all the others. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um,
I don't think it's right no matter who does it. You shouldn't burn down businesses. However, I also remember those days very well, and I remember that the anger, the hurt, the just why not? You know, why not? You guys are out here killing us. Well, fuck your town. And I'm not saying that's right, and I don't advocate for it. However, being able to understand it helps us not repeat it. So, and I do understand it.
can we segue now? Or can we use that
Absolutely.
to move into the next topic?
Absolutely.
Because I had a conversation tonight with a friend of mine, and it was about an hour long.
Yeah.
We talked about some political stuff. We went through my my idea to um, use affirmative action for
Mm.
Congress.
Mm.
Because now every time that I mention apple pie or as America as apple pie, that's my springboard now. Like, oh well, speaking of things that are as American as apple pie, um, chips and salsa is as American as apple pie. Socialism as American as fascism, right? Like
I mean,
neo-Nazi as American as Nancy Pelosi. Like
yeah.
sad but
I
true.
mean, our previous president told a group of right-wing militias to stand back and stand by. Yeah, they're just part of the fabric. To be mad at Ukraine because they have Nazis, I've never agreed with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, I want to throw up that I have to even admit this, but she, broken clock is right twice a day, and she was right when she said, uh, or, I'm sorry, she was right when she, called out all of those. Why are we supporting them? They are there. I'm like, okay, wow, she can see that and acknowledge that. I agree with her. However, they're also here, lady. They have tiki
Uh,
torches and khaki pants, but you
yeah,
can't, I mean, we didn't agree on a lot. That was the whole thing we agreed on.
yeah,
But also, right, they're everywhere.
yeah.
So you have to think about that. And I don't think they should be physically hurt or violence should be done against them. I think better ideas and better education should be available for everyone so that the
This-
next generation and their kids aren't.
yeah. So like yeah, look, like I don't like Nazis or neo-Nazis or fascists
No,
or um
no.
any of that, right? I but I do believe in free speech and
Yeah.
democracy. I think we need those to have the kind of country that we say we want to have all of the time,
Mhm. That our
right?
paper says we are.
Huh?
That our documents, our paperwork, our founding
Right.
words decree
Uh,
that we are. Yeah.
for the people.
And that all
And
men are created equal and the Bill of Rights. And yeah, I want those to be the truth, not just on paper or for some people.
now, in case you disagree with that, I
Hmm.
want to give you a really easy example. And this is just one example. We can go with a whole bunch, right? But if you don't have democracy for everyone, including
Mm.
the stupid, we'll say the stupid, tongue in cheek. Let's say,
Educated.
well, then we should only have educated people vote. All right. Now, maybe you agree with that, right? Maybe you feel like you need some form of education to vote. And I feel like you should, but
Hmm.
we can't enable that, because what if
Right.
we privatized education in this country and
They want
all
to.
educated people can vote?
Right.
See,
Nope.
the
It's for
battleground
everyone.
is poor versus rich, as well
Yeah.
as educated and uneducated.
Well,
If
they
you
would
don't,
go hand in hand. It would be hand in hand. Right.
and I want standardized education, and I want to be like expert, like standardized, for people who probably work for the government, because I want the government to support it, right? So there can be issues anywhere you go with this, but having democracy for all is an option, or having democracy for some is an option. And those lines can be divided in different ways: on education, on land ownership. We've done that before. On
Mm.
rich versus poor. Just there's so many different ways you can try to split it. Race,
Right.
apartheid systems. Um, but that's not a true democracy at that point.
Amen.
Or it's not of, by, and for the people. And even if you have voting rights for everyone, if you have representatives who take those votes and do stuff with them, but don't just follow the popular vote, well, then you need a representative democracy like Congress to actually represent what, like, the people look like. I like your walrus teeth. You can say something so they can see. Oh, dang.
What are you talking about, Mac?
I don't know. You got big teeth. There's some. Grandma, what big teeth you have. And if you don't, if you don't make it for everyone, I've already said that. I'm just distracted by her walrus teeth. So you all see where I'm going with this. You need that. And so therefore, I think you need, if you have something like Parliament or Congress, you need ranked choice voting for one, to make third parties viable as is. And then you need affirmative action to make sure that you get at least like a 2% of the representatives in the House to be neo-Nazis, and 2% to be communists, and 2% to be the Tea Party, socialists, fascists, all the way through, because they're as American as apple pie. All of them are. And I really do hate that there's so many fascists and neo-Nazis in our country. But bad ideas really do grow in the dark. I do believe that. I've seen a lot of evidence while I've been here online for the past 7 years. And you only defeat those ideas with better ideas. That's all. I really don't know what else to say other than that. Why would you need affirmative action if you have ranked choice voting? I think they go hand in hand, Smitty, because we need the ranked choice voting to help us divide the two-party system, right? And the affirmative action would just like help that along. So no party gets under a certain amount. Um,
How would affirmative action be used in voting?
how to be in voting. So I think if you drop to a minimal percentage of that party, you could still you're voting on who represents that party.
Mm.
Even if they don't get enough to just win it
Like a
as is
parliament,
by
like
default.
parliaments have many, and they all have to work together. So
Yeah,
I mean, there
yeah.
are a lot of attributes that a parliament system has that I think is great. The more voices, the more democracy, the more representation. I mean, there are not just two parties in this country as far as the people go. There are many, and they're not represented. So I see where you're going.
And Smitty, yeah, you said
Your
vote
favorite
for.
fascist Smitty says.
Yeah, no, honestly, and it's like we wouldn't vote for our favorite fascists, like registered fascists would, I would
Right.
suppose, in my ideal system, right? A leftist and utopia. Exactly, and homeschooling too, and absolutely, yeah, because there's so many people who agree with homeschooling. Now, to get any of that enacted, all of the right wing sides are going to have to fight against all the left wing sides to get homeschooling to be as much or as little as a thing as it can be, right? This was part of the discussion tonight. Um, but it makes different parties have to coalesce and work together. And I think one of my cool examples here uh, tonight were that if you go far enough left, you get your guns back, right? You could say that. So you're going to get some communists. Maybe you'll get the communists working with one or two or five of the right wing parties because they're very pro Second Amendment. Marxists are very Second Amendment. Um, and it's not always going to be clear cut and dry who the left and the right side is.
Democracies are messy and hard work.
They
That's why
are.
authoritarianism seems like a for people who don't want to put in the work. Big Daddy can do it for us.
Yeah, exactly. Daddy's coming home and he is very mad. You've been a bad girl. You're gonna get a spanking. If you don't know, I am quoting Tucker Carlson. So, Daddy Trump spanks America. Wow. Oh my God. That threw me. Ooh, that threw me off today. It's like, is that Tucker? And I had to pull out my
Yeah.
phone. Jesus Christ.
I mean, does everybody, people in America just forget? Remember how much he effing hates this guy. He can't wait till it's over and he never has to talk to him again. Trump has done nothing good for him. I mean, like his own words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I don't trust any of it.
We're still on amendments or not amendment stuff. Kind of amendments, but the election stuff. So, not sure if you're there, go ahead and switch us over to the other topic. Uh, excuse me, because I do want to talk about Gaza a little bit more, and in the context of what we had talked about tonight. And I'm talking about we as me and my friend who sat down and had a conversation. I wanted to share some of it. So, as far as Gaza goes, Palestine, whatever you want to call it at this point, the occupied state, the occupied territories. We know it's a shit show. We know it's horrible, unethical, terrible, and we know that Trump would do worse and laugh and brag about it. We know all
100.
that. That's a given. Um, if you don't know, you ought to know that Israel's other neighbors, Lebanon, are starting to go through some of the same horrors as Gazans did and are. They're killing civilians. They're saying there's bases under hospitals. We haven't got to talk about that much here on this channel, maybe not even at all. Um, Israel is completely a rogue state that is out of control. And this doesn't keep Jews safe.
Nope.
Okay? No Jewish people I love life and humanity in general, obviously including Jewish people and Arab people and black people and whatever, right? Do I need to go through the list? No, we don't. What I don't love is genocidal people,
Yep.
right? When you lose your humanity, there's nearly nothing left to love. I have red lines myself. As much as I don't love killing spiders,
Hmm.
or ants, I'm nearly Buddhist when it comes to that. I don't like to kill any life,
Yeah.
as much as I can muster, except gnats. God, I hate gnats. I am very
Gnats. Say it right. Okay, gnats. You might not be able to see them, but you say the G.
yeah, the gnats. Those fruit flies, gnats. And there's something else too. I can't remember. Oh, fleas, bed bugs, that stuff. They can all die in a fire. That said, most
In
things,
the fire.
most things, I would like
Agree.
to, because everything we see around us, took millions upon millions
Mhm.
upon hundreds of millions of years to get to today.
Yeah.
And I like to be the one who broke that chain.
Be the species they are today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
we're, I mean, we're just part of a habitat and we are making it ours. We're making the whole planet ours.
Yeah.
And it's very speciesist.
Are we an invasive species?
Sure. The invasive
Oh,
species.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we're number one. Duh.
Yeah. Numero uno. We are Homo supremo. Um,
Yeah, and on this topic, just real quick, did you see the report that there's 40 something percent of the trees on the planet that are endangered of going extinct? Like, I'll send it to you. It was even talked about on Democracy Now! Today. It's like a massive amount of species of trees are in danger of going extinct.
I
We
worry about
can't
that.
live without them.
No,
Insects and trees were in the report. This is actually the very first report on tree species of its kind.
that's wild. Yeah, they can live without us. Remember, guys, I've said it before. If you don't remember or didn't hear me say it, um, the Earth will go on without us.
Yeah, it doesn't need us.
We can fuck it up as much as we want for us. Something will live and go on, or the planet will just sit here as an empty rock and won't give a fuck that we're dead.
Yeah, the waters will stay full of whatever's for, another couple 100 million years until a whole new look,
By
whole
that
new
time,
everything.
it won't matter.
Oh yeah, our sun will die. Da, da, da,
we
da.
Well, not even that. Just the fact that like we won't have mattered
Oh
at that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Um, we we're not ending the show, Nacha, but stay humanist for Godless sake. Um, that's that's the point.
Yeah,
It's like that's why we cover politics. That's why we care about issues is because of the humanist perspective, the atheist humanist perspective. That is our
mhm.
namesake. Holy shit, I was distracted. Almost ended. Oh, I'm glad I said so. Um, uh,
Yes,
guys,
it is, secular humanism is definitely the guiding light.
it is because it gives responsibility. There are no gods coming to save us, right? It is frustrating to us because we think that is such an easy position to get to. But we still have empathy for those who have not come to that conclusion. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
but um, we have love for those
Mhm,
around us who disagree with us on
mhm.
nearly except maybe genocide.
Yeah, there's a red line, just
There's
like you
that.
said.
And I don't know what happens when you cross that red line. I would like to think that um, the UN would have a backbone and um, really
They're
enforce.
happening this week. I'll send
Huh?
you. A lot of things are going down this week in the United Nations at the ICJ. A lot of things are going down. They've moved past the it's possibly happening into
Mhm.
the here, let us demonstrate that it's happening portion.
That would be amazing.
It's happening. It's happening right now. And the Lancet, I don't know if you guys follow the Lancet Medical Journal,
Show them
says that
Lance that 186,000 people have
no,
probably
no,
died.
no, 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 no. Between 380 and 400,000 is the newest numbers.
So we've been right on our estimations going
Yes,
forward. If
yes.
the Lance is right, we have also been right. We've been
Which
trying to.
would be over 3% of their population.
Yeah, when you get anywhere near 1% of any
It's a
um
genocide.
nation, not only is it a genocide, but it is.
War crime, crime against humanity. It's fucking evil. There's real evil in the world, and we're funding it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, look, my point was it's us.
Yeah, so stupid.
We're the problemless, or we're the problem. We're the problem.
Yeah,
We're the solution.
I agree.
Is to it.
Well,
So if you see a problem, you are either contributing to it because you let it go on, or you're helping solve the problem because you're trying to do anything you
right,
possibly can to fix
yeah,
it. And again, I don't disparage anyone from doing the bare minimum. Christy and I talk about it every couple of weeks online to try to reach more than one person. We hope
yes.
at least a person. That's something. The dude I was talking to tonight, we agree on so much. We do not agree on Gaza.
Yeah, see
But
that? It's really hard to get past that for me.
it is.
And I have
But
to work hard.
yeah, but every single point I made, he couldn't disagree with. Every singular point he couldn't disagree with. He's just been so indoctrinated in the propaganda of Israel and
Right.
that
It
Hamas
happens.
is dead so
Right.
bad that he can't really have empathy, true empathy for them.
Right.
um,
It's
but
really hard for me to understand that. Just, I mean, I do try. I don't not try. I want to reach those people the most. It's just
yeah,
really hard to not like, I just want to shake the shit out of them. Like,
yeah, because you feel
who's
fucking
your
shook
family?
every time. You feel
How would
shook
you
every
feel? Yes,
you
I
get
do. I feel shook. Yes.
so, like a video or some pictures or a story comes out, grabs you by the fucking shoulders and screams in your face every day that this is awful.
Yeah.
And everyone you
And
talk to,
doing the same exact thing in Lebanon, telling, 200, 300,000 people they need to all evacuate out of their own country, their own towns, or die. They're invading hospitals, saying that there's command centers underneath. They're just did another hospital last week where they said they had to because there was gold and cash under. You're a country over here. Who cares what they have? And they did it. Unfortunately, they let the BBC in, and the BBC walked around opening up everything and said, "Y'all is fucking liars." That's why they don't let journalists in. Right there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah. When I heard 400,000, I thought, you know what, Mac and I have been right this whole time because it can't be this number demonstratively factual, this number at this date. And then you add, and then you add, and then you add. it ends up being that much, a minimum. I feel a minimum of 400,000. I mean, we won't know the correct number, like we'll never know the correct number in the Holocaust, because so many people have been obliterated. Entire family lines have been obliterated. There's nobody to talk about who they were, what they did, their legacy. Yeah, they're gone.
Smitty said, imagine the aliens from Independence Day dropping flyers telling humans to evacuate the Earth before bombing it. We're the most moral army in the galaxy. Ugh.
Katie Helfer had a great interview on this past week. She had an Israeli on who's a survivor of October 7th and a journalist, writes for Haaretz, and said that he's terrified of a Donald Trump president. Bibi has been, hedging his bets that he can be as bad as he wants, while Biden has been pulling the reins because was too scared that he wouldn't win re-election if he didn't do what Trump would do, so he could get away with a lot. However, him and the other journalists that he, is friends with and works with at Haaretz all believe that if Kamala wins, that Israel is going to have to reckon with itself, because it won't be overnight. She's still a supporter. However, Bibi will have to go. I mean, what was he doing prior to October 7th? Trying to change the Constitution. Well, they don't have a Constitution. Trying to change the courts so that he could have more power. That the Unitarian thing that we have here, where, the president gets to be the king. They're doing dumb shit like that there. Yes.
The other thing he was doing was directing more of the IDF to the West Bank to fuck up communities there, which is why October 7th was so devastating, because they didn't guards over by
well, he told all the guards that were there just to stand down, to not do anything. He wouldn't listen to them. The whole brigade of females, that female brigade, they're gone. One or two survived. And, in the beginning, they came out and said, we were told to stand down. I watched all these horrible things happen. And then they were told not to talk. Yeah. So, listen, Katie Helfer does have some great, she is a very moral American Jew who has been on the opposing side of genocide since the beginning. That's why she lost her big network jobs, because she said like Mark Lamont Hill lost his job at MSNBC because he said, no, I don't think it's okay that this can happen. If nothing justifies October 7th, nothing. October 7th seems to justify anything. And that's not how logic works. So
it's not. It's a double standard.
no, and just imagine if it's your family. That's all you have to do. What would you do to stop it?
So
Anything.
I'll use that for a segue, even. Because this is kind of what it came down to for me. And this is what it always comes down to for me when we're talking about the Middle East. Guys, not just the Middle East, but like South America too. Places fuck up in the South. We do. We do with our
policies.
Saudi Arabia or Israel. Excuse me. Who we fuck up. We fuck them up hard. Remember, there's been over 900 families that will never be heard from again because they are dead. No next of kin.
Yeah, nobody.
That's just the ones that are gone. There are some left of other families. A lot of children have been orphaned. A lot of parents have been rendered childless. And I tell you here that if something like that happened to my family, I'd want blood too. as much as I'm a humanist and I don't want death and destruction, that's just human nature. Like, that's written in the Bible, right? It goes back a long time, feelings like that,
Yes, it
right?
does.
And before, well before, whenever someone gets an unjustly death, especially when it's done on purpose, people
Yes.
want blood. That's what happens.
Mhm.
Right. I'm not saying if it happened to me, it would be right if I wanted it. No, it'd still be
No, it'd still be wrong, right?
right. But it's human nature to
Hmm.
feel like that. Like, no
Right.
fucking So, yeah, I have some empathy for some terrorists because their families were slaughtered in front of them. Right. So, in 15 or 20 years, when we're still here, Christy and I, talking about the new 9/11 that just happened, probably by some new variation of Hamas, and we're like, oh, we called it a long time
ISIS,
ago.
Al-Shabaab. Yeah.
We're going to be like, yeah, like that we called that a long time ago. And yeah, this is terrible. Look at all the new bloodthirsty Americans.
Yep.
It's a
It's
vicious
called
cycle.
blowback. It has an actual name because our government has dealt with it for so long. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, I hope you guys remember I told you my favorite podcast on Spotify is called Blowback. And the season 2 about Cuba, excellent. Their newest one is so good. I flew through it in like 2 days. It's so good. They're on top of it. I do want to say, yes, we have them to explain why Israel controls our country. To that, I want to say, how do you know if somebody has control and they're authoritarian? And how would you know who it is? Well, in this country, who can we criticize and talk shit about? Anybody. We can talk about the president, conservatives, liberals, the Green Party. People even make fun of the poor and people who need assistance. Like, you can talk shit about anybody, but you cannot talk shit about Israel.
And you also can't call for violence.
Yes, of
When
course.
you
But
manifest it
it's like
through visual violence.
criticizing. You literally like that you are immediately called out as anti-Semitic. When you're
Right.
not talking about the Jewish people, we're talking about Jewish supremacy and the right-wing government of Israel, but that they've integrated into the thought process that Zionism and Judaism are one thing, so that criticizing a political ideology is the same as criticizing a religion, and it is not. Not.
Yeah.
But
Right. And we have a few people in the chat. I don't
yeah.
know. I'm so sorry. UDF, I'm guessing. And the
Mhm.
gaslighting, they tell you you are evil and crazy for not wanting kids to be internationally targeted. Yeah, like
Right.
the gaslighting. It is gaslighting. And then the Grapin team.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
rage of the oppressed is different than the rage of the oppressor. The oppressor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, look, like you guys are on point. Um, it's it's like I said, it's a vicious cycle.
Hmm.
Break the chain somewhere. And really, it's not
Education.
that hard to come to that conclusion. It's really not.
Right.
It's a mature way of
This-
thinking and
I'm
radicalized by
radicalized by the strong desire to stop bombing children.
oh God. Yeah.
Right. That's me. Yeah. You call me whatever you want. I am radicalized. My red line is genocide. Right.
Yeah.
It is wrong. No matter who does it, it's wrong. And nothing justifies genocide.
No,
Nothing. There's nothing.
no.
You will
There is
never
something.
convince me that it is okay what is going on there. And I'm open to new ideas and new information to change my mind. But that is, I'm
It's
sorry,
hard.
massacre
It's,
is the most vile thing you can do to a population of people because you're mad or want revenge or for any reason, especially supremacy. Oh, Oh,
Let me say one of my favorite phrases. Counterterrorism is terrorism.
oh yes. Noam Chomsky's been saying that for decades.
Yeah. So
Yes, for
it's
decades.
like again, this is not a hard concept. This is if that makes sense to you, you're just
Mhm.
you're just like a little more mature than everyone else in the fucking room, I
Than the
guess.
majority of voters, right?
Which is so bad. Um,
Yes.
it's
Let's
sad.
see.
It's a sad, sad state of affairs. And I really hope that Israel goes down for this, like the state of Israel, the
Yeah.
administration, like gets some fucking punishment out of this. Um, I have nearly no empathy for those who do not appreciate life of others.
Same.
Uh, like it's disgusting and it's
Uh,
hazardous to everyone else around you. Um, so
I've just posted two things. The first thing I posted is the up to date what just happened at the ICJ and how they're now entering the form of demonstrating how it is a genocide. It's no longer it is possibly a genocide. Now they're into the demonstrating how it is and what needs to be done. And then the second thing is an old school, because you just reminded me of it, Noam Chomsky, where he sits down with the Zionists. This is a long time ago. He's been fighting this good fight for decades, and he handles it like a boss, like a mouse. It's like a few minutes long.
I came across something yesterday and I haven't finished watching it. I think it's 11 minutes long, maybe 16 minutes long, um, of Christopher Hitchens while he was quite young,
Yeah.
talking about his position on Israel and Palestine. And I only saw the first couple minutes, but it was a good take. Um,
Yeah,
I
I
wish
miss them.
I was a little surprised because I know we disagreed on the war on terror, but
Yes. Yes.
as far as Palestine went, he
But he did
understood.
come out and admit that he had it wrong, that he would not have made that decision again. You
He
know,
had,
knowing what he knew later on, he would have felt completely different about the war on terror.
yeah. But I mean, as brilliant as that man was, it doesn't matter how fucking smart you are and how many tricks you think you have up your sleeve and how savvy you are to catching propaganda. You get got sometimes. You just do. And that's another important reason why you need to have empathy for those who you feel are wrong. Because you could be wrong, right? We could be wrong about this. I highly doubt it, right?
Right.
Counter,
And think even if you're right, but the majority group feels that you're wrong, would you want to be demonized, violently hurt, subjugated to? No, we need to have empathy and humanism so that we can discuss things, so that these kind of ideas can be demonstrated, so that even though this little group and this little group will never come here, these people in the middle can hear it and say, ah, and then want to be on the right side. And it's hard not to be on the right side when all of the factual things that have been demonstrated to you show that that's the right side. It would be willfully, belligerently dumb, ignorant, and there are those. And I don't think violence should happen to them either. I'm consistent. However, I want to convince the most amount of people of our humanity across the board. It doesn't matter if you believe in a sky daddy I don't believe in. It doesn't matter if, you have, if I find your beliefs, disgusting, I still think you deserve the right to learn and be a better person. And that's just the way that it is in my head.
oh, so I guess the only thing because I always point out the little differences, right? And I always play a little bit of devil's advocate is, I do think something needs to be done with um Yoav Galant. Benny Gantz, Netanyahu, locked away, whatever needs. I really don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit about life to the hundreds of thousands of people lives that they ended. Right. But look, calls for violence is not okay, especially against a civilian population. And I will repeat myself to be clear, calls for violence against civilians are unacceptable. No good. Right? What I do not think is a war crime, and what I also do not think is necessarily the same kind of call for violence, is when you call for a military action against another military force or administrative state. That does something, right?
Right.
I think we should attack the IDF. I think we should attack the Knesset, right? I think that. So maybe that opinion is biased.
I mean, think
So
about if it was the other way around. If this all was happening the other way around,
right.
all of it. If almost 400 or around 400,000 Israeli citizens, Jewish people, had already been slaughtered, we would have already been in there because it's wrong. It's disgusting. It's just vile. But
Right.
because they're not the same level of humans, like that's what I take from it. I don't know how else to take it.
Look, and maybe this is why it hits the Israeli population so hard. But I'm going to give you guys a little nugget, a little perspective that you might not have. Israel, you know this, you do know this already. I'm sure everyone watching our channel already knows this.
Hmm.
Israel, when you turn 18, they have a draft, right? It's not just draft. You serve.
Oh yeah, or go to jail.
Yeah, you have to serve in the IDF.
Yep. Very
That's,
nationalistic.
yes. It's not the same with Palestinians and Hamas. It's not the
Right.
same.
That's why it's not a war. Tell me what a Palestinian military uniform looks like. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Yeah, yeah, give us a picture.
No, they don't have a military.
Hold on now, Christy. It looks like civilian clothing.
Oh
But
wow.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
Now, maybe that's why the Israelis understand and believe so easily that all Palestinians are Hamas, because all Israelis are part of the IDF, at least at some point or another. Now, hear me. I think that's bullshit. When I say I want to, I would be happy if the U.S. military attacked the Knesset or the IDF or both to show them fucking stop. We mean it. The only way we're sending you weapons is if they explode when they arrive, right? I'm pretty anti-war, but when it comes to genocide, you gotta fucking stop it. Or when you cross a red line, it actually means something, right? We can't just say there's a red line and be like, oh, oops, I guess we'll send them more weapons to use on civilians. No, you tell them to fucking stop or you make them stop. Anyways, what I'm saying is even though you could get me on a technicality, I could get them on a technicality of all Israeli citizens are IDF
Mm,
and all children of
mm.
Israel are future IDF.
Yep, and taught to hate
They're not
them from
serving.
age 2.
Yeah, if they're not serving, they're not military. I do not condone that. And I
Yeah,
expect the opposite from my opposition to say that for Hamas. If they are not currently freedom fighters, you don't get to fucking count them.
right,
Otherwise, we get to count every child of Israel
right, right.
as a combatant
It has to be
because
consistent.
they are owned by the state of Israel and they have to serve in the IDF. Again, I think that's bullshit,
Right.
but you have to meet me halfway. Or else it's a double standard and your principles don't matter. You just want to win a fucking fight. And
Um,
and if anyone knows, let me double check. If anyone knows, because I'm going to attack someone now. Excuse me. The apostate prophet, I believe. The apostate prophet. I
Yes, yes,
really,
yes.
yeah. I really liked his channel. Guy's a fucking genocidal maniac.
Uh-huh. And so is
And so is who?
Armin.
Armin Navabi. Oh yeah, he's
Shit about Bassem Youssef this week. Bassem Youssef is just a
no.
treasure, a treasure. It's
It's
really heartbreaking.
now, guys. I don't know. I don't know where so many of our ex-Muslims are on this topic, but I implore you to be better than Armin Navabi from Atheist Republic.
Yeah,
I implore you to be better than the apostate prophet. You cannot be so anti-Muslim that you are genocidal.
yeah, it can't be justified. Mass
No.
slaughter of life cannot be justified. Collective punishment is a war crime for a reason, because the majority, the mass populations of nations, of communities, of regions are not involved in these things. Whether they have an uncle that is, whether they know somebody that is,
Yeah.
even the people who were in the militia, I don't think should be all slaughtered. I think
No.
that they should have to face punishment, like if you did a crime here,
Yeah.
and not just penalize. Uh, Education, books, conversations. I understand that that's harder. I get it. It's a lot more work. However, all the billions that we're sending over there could be for that and not bombs. I know I am living in La La Land just saying that.
Well, I mean,
But
no.
the world we want to live in,
You're living in a first world country that's not being bombed all the fucking time.
I know I'm very fortunate every day.
I know
Every
you,
day.
but it hurts
Yeah.
because we're facilitating it, just sitting here,
Oh, I know.
even speaking out against it. And it
I'll
sucks.
never be able to say I'm sorry enough I'm so ashamed.
No,
Yeah.
and that's why it's so hard to vote for the Democratic Party, who is not unanimously like it's usually a fucking
I
black and white
war.
vote every
Yeah.
other time. But this one,
Right.
genocide in 2020s, it's absolutely abhorrent and insane.
Right.
And
The
again,
argument, the argument that says, but in Hamas's documents, in their mission statement, they have genocidal language. Okay, the KKK has abhorrent racial violence they want to do. I don't think we should round them up and kill them either.
no, no, absolutely,
That's
yeah,
not that's just gonna keep killing and then keep killing and then more. When's it end?
yeah. And look, I've said this before, but taking the high ground is hard and often not safe and in some ways stupid. Um, the non-violent ones tend to get killed first because the violent ones don't give a shit about you. Um, we uh, we need to be better than them. Um, and again, to our old friends and counterparts in our atheist movement, um, the Atheist Republic and Apostate Prophet. We love your atheist material. Uh,
Like almost 100% with 99%. I just cannot get along with genocide.
right. And to be clear, I am anti-Islam. I'm anti-Christianity. Right. I don't like these ideologies, but I'm not anti the people, the
Right.
misled people who are raised in a lie or an untruth, however you want to fucking say it.
Right.
We have a disagreement on a big thing that controls a lot of people's lives. but you don't kill those people,
Right. No,
or
you
that
don't.
at the very least. Um, it's inhumane, and you are just as bad as all of the worst stories in their pretend books.
Yep. Yeah, it is. I agree. Smitty says it's kind of pointless to be an atheist, to be an atheist activist. I think he's saying if you're going to go along with religious holy war rhetoric. Agree. Agree. Agree.
Oh, yeah.
Important.
Ben, good
And
to
then
see you.
I also need to add, Smitty said, hold on, it's so funny when you were talking about the mandatory draft. If Israel is so drafty, they should close the window.
Yeah.
I love him.
But again, I do want to repeat that part too, just for those of you who may have missed my point, is not only the point of like we could make a really good argument that all citizens of Israel are part of the IDF. At least at some point they have to be. The state owns them. That's the thing. But that's probably why Israel doesn't, or Israelis, sorry, their citizen population does not have a hard time believing that all Palestinians or Arabs in the Palestinian regions, because Palestine doesn't exist to them. That's why I'm playing with my language, speaking to them. That's probably why they buy in so easily, that they're all part of Hamas, or they will be, because they are all part of the IDF, or will be. It's not necessarily how it is. Um, Genocidal rhetoric needs to be bit in the ass and maybe prosecuted, no
Yes,
matter if you're a citizen or not.
yes.
That's calls for violence. I don't think that you deserve to be bombed or shot for it. Maybe unless, again, my red line would be if you're in the military, right? If that's what you're there for, to fight, literally fight and die for that position, then that's what a military is for. And the administrative state who directs that military, I might add, I think should be tied into that. Because if you aren't brave enough to um, fight and die for the things you're telling people that they have to go fight and die for, you should also have a target on your back. I think that's only fair. If you're making the decisions for those fighting, I think you're also in the crossfire. Um, that's Matt's take, hot take. Um, guys, we love you so much. Thank you for listening to us. I don't know if we're done, but I'm just again thanking you guys. Christy, do you have anything?
Yeah, I did. I'm replying in our chat. It is sad about the Atheist Republic. I don't know if you guys remember my whole beginning into the whole atheist community and participating and volunteering and doing all that. One of them was the very first moderator on Atheist Republic. There was nobody before me. And I was there every week. I loved it. I loved that Armin and I could disagree on stuff. I loved that we could agree on stuff. Nothing was ever personal. I learned a lot, not just from the topics that he covered, but as a perspective of someone whose family left Iran when, religion took over and they had to flee. I love getting different perspectives, and I love that he made it into the atheist community and let go of all that kind of magical thinking. I just such a great person and funny. And then he got married. I was so happy for him. And there were certain things that he would say about Iran back then. And I chalked it up to, well, I'm not Iranian descent. That's not how I feel with the evidence that is available when I read it. But let me go read it again. Maybe I missed something. That's how I always took it. Always. And then I would, and I'd say, no, that's still how I feel about that. But that's no big deal. I don't have to agree with everything with somebody. I don't have to agree with 50% or 60% with somebody to like them as a person. But we agreed on a lot. But then I saw this pro-Israel. Uh, it's almost like logic isn't even a part of the conversation because they are because of the ideology that a lot of the Hamas leaders or fighters hold. And I find that ideology abhorrent as well. I don't think we should go murder them for their ideology. That is some fascist bullshit. You don't kill people or imprison them for having different beliefs, even if their beliefs are bottom of the barrel disgusting. You know, women shouldn't vote and should stay at home and make babies, and because my magic sky daddy said so. Right, you're wrong, and then we'll disagree, but I also think you have a right to have those beliefs. Here's why I think they're wrong. Let me show you how I know these other beliefs to be more correct. And then if we still disagree, that's fine. Neither of us should die over that. And to be pro genocide, even I'm sure me saying that, if it ever gets back to Atheist Republic or to Armin, I don't want him to take that personally, but also what part of supporting genocide is okay? And he might say it's not genocide. I've heard him say that it's not genocide. And uh, the intention is there, the actions are there. 400,000 people are gone because a government wants more land, a colonial government that's been doing a colonial project since 1940, prior to 1948. I like to learn as much history. You guys know history is my favorite as I can. And I don't just delve into one side because that's the side that I agree with currently. I want to know if I'm wrong. I want to know as much. And a lot of it is nuanced. A lot of it, I see why big swaths of Jewish people needed a respite, a place that was safe. I get that. But I also get that if any group of people, whether it's a religious group, any, came into another country, any country, and kicked people off their land and took it, and then went to court, had other governments come in for them and say, I know you just got here and you don't have even half as many people, but we're going to give you 60% and we're going to give them 40%. There would be a war. Against war. That's why it's so important to understand these things so we don't repeat them. And I'm not saying I have the answers, but I do fucking know that genocide isn't the answer. It will never be the answer.
No. Before I forget,
Yes, Smitty, yes, agree with your yes. Yes, contrarian is kind of like one of his calling cards, which is a really good reason why he's an amazing debater. But also genocide's just wrong. There's,
yeah,
I don't, if the contrary position against genocide is a thing. I mean, if to be contrary to the position of genocide, I don't even understand like how that can be an argument. Like, no,
yeah,
no. There's certain things you can be a contrarian on. A lot of things. Even just to be the argument, just to have the argument because you love debating and arguing. I get it. But yeah. No, Smitty
to,
knows. Smitty knows I don't. I used to respect him too.
yeah, same.
Yeah,
It's
my heart just breaks because I still do on all these other topics. He's such a good advocate for them. But
yeah.
yeah.
I would I
Oh,
would
and he
still
went after I told you, but you gotta leave my man alone.
for what?
Who he just Armin just went after uh, 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 uh what's his name?
Was going
I just said his name perfectly a second ago. Yes. He's a comedian. He used to be a heart surgeon. He was a heart surgeon in Egypt and he had to flee because of his ideology, exactly why freedom should be the thing. And all of the work you go through to become a heart surgeon is admirable. It is, I mean, you're just on you're a superhero. You just are. And
yeah,
he would have to have started all over again because that's the way the rules of the world work. and he's a comedian traveling the world selling out. Bassem Youssef, there we go. He's a goddamn hero to me. He is a goddamn hero to me when the only question that was being asked about this genocide was, do you condemn Hamas? Remember that? Doesn't matter what they were talking about. Tacos were great last night, but do you condemn Hamas? Like, he went on Piers Morgan and used satire to answer every single question. Now I can't do that with my wife because I was using her as a human shield. And like, I mean, just Pierce didn't know how to handle it, but the entire world who understood what he was doing was like, and ever since then, I mean, he sold out, he sells out everywhere. I couldn't be blessed enough to go see him live. He's hilarious. And you know, most people think he's traveling around selling out shows talking about this conflict. He's not. He's not. That's not what his show's about. He's a funny guy. He talks about all kinds of stuff. But also, it's bullshit. There's no pro-genocide side that is acceptable. But what about no. Genocide's wrong. There's nothing some group of people can do to another group of people that would make it justifiable for genocide. Nothing.
Even, I was saying, even genocide, even genocide.
Even genocide. I mean,
Not
the
enough.
Bosnian genocide. These are people who survived the Holocaust. People don't talk about World War II and the Bosnians getting genocided. They did. They did. And then those people did what the Israelis are doing now to the Muslims there because hurt people hurt people. We know this. We know this as humanity has known this as long as we have studied this. And that's why if we know it, we know better. And if we know better, then we need to do better. I bleeped myself out there, hopefully. I don't say too many F words.
Yeah. Knowledge comes with responsibility.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I want to have on sometime
Okay.
soon. Their channel's still small enough that I think they wouldn't mind hanging out with us.
Yes, they are, Smitty. They are Semites. So are Jordanians. So are Lebanese. Right. They're all Semites. So how could
Yeah.
they be anti-Semite? Right. Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous.
So I would love to have on, and on her page here it says she's secular humanist, and we know of this person if you remember her, Zara K.
Oh yeah, Zara's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to
Zara's
reach out.
been on Armin's show.
Huh?
Zara's been on Armin's show.
Multiple times. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm
She was
saying.
a ex-Muslim staple for a while. And I would love to get her views on it.
Let's do
I
that.
like to think that she'd be really chill with us, even if she disagrees. But yeah, I'll reach out to her and see if we can get her on. Because she was really cool, and I remember us all kind of banding together to get her free when she was arrested. But down in Zanzibar, if I remember right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smitty, I'm with you. It really breaks my heart. Smitty says, I'm not at all a fan of people who want the Holocaust to refer only to Jewish victims. Amen, brother. Right. There's millions and millions of individual human beings that were just genocided because of hatred and bigotry and supremacy. And so we all collectively know it's wrong. We teach our children it's wrong, except for but and maybe and however. And although those words will not suffice when history looks back, because we can right now go back to prior to the death camps, prior to the gas chambers, when they were just killing them with a gun to the head, and find people then that were making excuses, who were saying it can't call it that because they're not all dead. You can't call it that because look at their breeding rates. They make so many babies. All of the disgusting shit we hear today about the Palestinian people, who have no power, who have no military, who have no country that they can secure their own borders. Yeah, you guys already know all that. Don't let me get started. Kick my soapbox off from underneath. I don't need that.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm
Do
gonna
it
start.
again for everyone.
I'm gonna start leading us out.
Yeah.
So we're before midnight, or at least here. Um, to sum up, we agree with Bernie Sanders. We do not agree with the Biden-Harris administration that we should give Benjamin Netanyahu and his administration anything more to keep committing a genocide, facilitating. I do appreciate that Kamala Harris didn't go to Congress when Netanyahu came.
Mhm. She did talk to him during his visit here, one-on-one, which I get it. You have to. You have to talk to people you find abhorrent. I get it. So, I mean, she made a statement and then, you know.
No, absolutely. You have to do. I'm sorry again for my
Yeah.
cough and my
I mean, in
voice.
this situation, as a world leader, to not talk to them and try to fix it is not a good look or thing either. So,
The only thing you can actively do is be warmongering, and you don't have any diplomacy in you.
mm,
There's a problem, right? Even diplomacy for the worst, right? Because if you can't have diplomacy for the worst, then you will keep that vicious cycle going. We are anti-war and we are rational, so we see that. But again, you have to have red lines. If you have principles yet no red lines, then you have no spine, and that's a fucking problem because you either die that way or you condone death that way. It's
mm,
usually that. So
yeah.
red lines are important with principles. Guys, I know everyone here is going to vote against Donald Trump in one way or another. And look, we love you for it. I I am of the belief that don't let anyone shame you for your vote. If you have to vote your conscience, there you go. Good job,
Voted.
Chris.
Voted.
You done did it. Um, don't let anyone shame you for your vote. It's your vote,
I
right?
shame you if you didn't vote. That's the
Yeah,
only vote shaming I do.
that's fair. It's very fair. Guys, I hope that you vote with rationality in mind and genocide in mind, because that's a terrible thing to vote for in any capacity. So if you can vote against it, do it the best way you know how. That's, I think, the biggest thing that we can all agree on here.
Yeah.
Vote against the genocide, however you feel that is best done. Excuse me.
And, and smoke weed every day.
And smoke weed every day.
I
Or
stand by it
drink a little bit of rum every so often.
every so often.
I'm not gonna
As
say do it every.
Mary Poppins says it. And Mary
Mm,
Poppins is cool. So whatever.
yeah. What up? Um. All right, guys. We love you. I
Thank you
think we're
so
gonna
much.
try to do another stream a week from now,
Yes.
because it's the
Yeah,
day
yeah, yeah.
after the election,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
voting day. So hopefully we'll be there as long as the three of us, because not just under our desk. Ooh, slow down, buddy.
Mm.
Nobody and um, yeah, we want to be here to break things down for you guys and see or to talk about how the world's on fire one way or another. We love you guys. Hopefully see you in a week.
Yes.
Um,
And stay
yeah,
humanist. Godless
exactly.
sake. Mwah.